What are you saying, bro? You ready for another lesson?
Man, I can't wait, man. It's been a while, So.
That's a screw.
You can even tell already, you know?
Hey, right rudder, that's it.
Wheel 01, you can backtrack now.
Need to be over the field in between the two.
Alright.
What do you know about increasing the angle of bank?
Full speed.
Exactly.
You're fine, you're on the centre line and then suddenly you're not, bro.
Next time you're in a grass, bro.
That landing. I'm worn out.
Are you aiming to be a commercial pilot?
Yes, at some point.
Yes, so these calls, they have to be made in a commercial environment. Well done, mate. You're gonna make a good commercial pilot.
Thank you.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft.
You're very behind the aircraft.
We've got a fuel leak. Yeah. By the way, go to the whiskey, sorry. The whiskey is quite strong.
You're gonna make a good commercial pilot.
You still have control.
No, you tell me when you want to take control. You tell me when you want to take control.
Ever? Do I have to?
Yes. Because I say so. Bear in mind, you're going to have to work with what you've got, normally. What do you need?
That's what I'll make use of what I've got.
Previously on Future Pilot 901.
Okay, how you feeling?
Feeling good?
Good. You're gonna go solo.
Okay. Student Will 08 is ready for departure. We're off.
Student Wheel 08, surface wind is 330 at 9 knots, we've got one to vacate.
Student Will 08.
Charlie Kilo, right base, get out to land. Student Wheel 08, minute takes and well done.
This aircraft is so nice to flow with.
Yeah, very nice.
Victor Golf, Kid 20 starting Victoria airspace now in the climb task chute 3,000 feet, heading 090 degrees.
Yes, 3,000 feet is very nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It's not like in the cloud.
Victor Golf, resume our location, Sierra Lima Bill. Determine the procedure report on localized established.
The whole point of getting your IMC is you fly clouds. That's sort of where we are roughly. See?
Okay.
So we came in for an approach on runway 23. We did a missed approach, and now we're being vectored around to do another approach into runway 23.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is Dee, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901. Yes, 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 yes. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your future captain speaking. Welcome to Future Pilot 901 Live, where we keep our fingers on the pulse of general aviation. And the show is live on Kick and YouTube every Monday, 7 p.m. British summertime. My name is Dee. And all I can say is, we've made it so far. We've made it so far. We've made it so far. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Oh, yes. How you're feeling? How are you guys feeling today? I hope you are having a great start to the week. To anybody who uses technology like Canva or apparently even Zoom and Restream, there's a bunch of softwares today that's been not working properly. It's been a bit of a so it was touch and go. I thought I actually wouldn't get to do the show, but as it works out, here I am. There's a bunch of fireworks going on, so I think, if I'm correct, that it is Diwali. So to anybody out there celebrating Diwali, happy Diwali to you guys. Yes, yes, yes. Happy Diwali to you guys. As is customary, I've got somebody to ban from the Kick chat, so I shall get on with that right this second. Yep, I shall get rid of them right this second. So we have a packed up show today. I hope you are excited. I hope you've got your questions ready. I hope you have your thoughts ready, because you never know who you might inspire, or you might even like get me to think about something I haven't thought about. So make yourself known in the chat. Let me know how you're doing and share your thoughts as we go. We got a bunch of things to touch on today. We've got well, finally, first of all, actually, I rewatched parts of the stream from last week. I rewatched parts of it, and I noticed that I was saying actually a lot. I was saying actually saying actually a lot of the time. So my challenge today is going to be to not say the word actually. That's my challenge for today, because you know what it is, we're just trying to improve every single time we do this. And I have to say, over the last week, you know, I've been fully focused. I've been feeling real good, so I'm hoping to share that vibe with you guys, and hopefully you guys share the vibe with me. Yes, sir. Shout out to AAIB MVP in the chat. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Anyone else in the chat, feel free to jump out and join us, join the conversation. So what do we have in today's flight bag? I'm glad you asked. So we're going to have a chat about some things that I've read so far. As usual, we'll get our aviation update. There's VHF, low-level common frequency, which I actually had no clue about. So that's going to be coming up later. We got a bulletin from the AAIB, or the Air Accident Investigation Branch. So that's going to be useful to have a look at what's happened more recently. But the most important thing that I'm quite excited about is we're going to start talking about some money. We're going to talk about that dosh. We're going to talk about that wonga. Yes, sir. Why? Why are we going to talk about that? Well, one, because along my journey, I've kind of learned things that I wish I knew earlier. And, you know, it's very much a case of the more that you share information, the more you crystallize it in your own mind. So I'm hoping that in sharing some of these things, I will have a better grasp of them, and hopefully they will help somebody else out there, because paying for flight training is expensive. Yes, it is expensive, and there's lots of people out there with a dream, but without the means of making that dream happen. And so it's very much about us talking about money in a way to grow that money, really, so that we can live our dreams. After all, that is the motto here on Future Pilot 901. Yeah, I appreciate it, man, and thank you for the back and forth. Like, do you know, if you want to really grasp a topic, what you should do is explain it to somebody who knows nothing about it, or somebody who knows something about it. But some of the best questions you will ever get are from people who are not from your world, because they don't think in common patterns that you're used to. So they'll ask questions in ways that, like, you're like, wait, what? I didn't even think about it like that. But let me think about that. And it's all about really, being able to look at an idea and turn it and look at it from a different angle. And questions help with that. So if anyone has questions, feel free to ask it, because the question helps me to get mastery. And I'm definitely still, closer to the beginning of my journey, even though I've been investing for like 3 to 4 years now. It's very much a learning, but we're always students. We are always students. So I can't wait to share some of that knowledge with you guys. And if there's any questions, drop them in the comments. Shout out to all the subscribers. Thank you for choosing Future Pilot 901. Thank you. The premier YouTube channel for student pilots. Let's go. Right. Anybody getting ready for the airlines? Airline prep season is coming up. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about VHF, common frequency thingamabob that I mentioned earlier. We're going to also, we're gonna also answer any questions that come up. Now, I had a listener send me something. One of our listeners sent me something. They wanted to encourage me. And they sent me something, and I want to show you guys what they sent to me, because I want to know what you guys think about it. Yeah, I want to know what you guys make of the thing that they sent me. Where is it? I'm going to click download. I'm going to click download on that. Then I'm going to click. I really want to get you guys' opinion of what was sent. So they apparently, this listener went on a flight. And they said, Dee, I thought I saw you. Do you know what they meant? And then they sent me this. Guys, one in the chat if this looks like me. One in the chat if that looks like me. Does that look like me, guys? Is this what I look like? And I just didn't know. So then, do you know what I replied with? I said, look, that I cannot be a captain on the right seat, right? The captain sits on the left seat, right? That doesn't make sense. And so they were like, oh, my bad. I said, my bad. And then have a look at what I got afterwards. Let me show you guys. Give me a second. I'll show you guys this other thing. I really want to get you guys' opinion on this because I didn't know what to make of it. I did not know what to make of it. So then they sent me this one. All right. Wow, this is a bit slow today, man. Technology has been crazy slow today. Scanning for viruses. Okay, there's no viruses, man. I'm the one downloading. What's your problem? I'm the one downloading them. Okay, I'm gonna have to show it to you guys on here. Then, if that wasn't enough, check this out. Check this out. They then sent this to me. Where is it? Window. This one? No. Chrome tab. Yes. Do you know what the hardest thing about this is? Having like yeah, there we go. That's what they said. Oh, I mean, I saw you on the other side. I said, what? Does that look like me, guys? Yeah, it's tough out here. It's tough out here. So yeah, apparently I was flying an A321 this past week. So that's good. At least it's with the correct airline. Coolio. Have you guys been doing airline prep? Because I want to show you what's been actually my favorite. This has been my favorite thing to work on, and then I'll have a look at the chat. I've actually got pretty good at this. Don't look at the score because this is not my score. This is not my score. But this is one of the exercises I did for British Airways selection earlier this year. Yeah. So it does come up, and I've been working on it. Let's see if I can do a good job when I'm live and I've got pressure of all these eyeballs looking at me. Can I perform? And if I can perform on this stage, I'm pretty sure I can perform at the assessment levels. So let's put some background music to go. Let me find something to keep you guys entertained. Yeah, that's good. I like that one. All right, let's go. Where am I? Let's see, score predictions in the chat. Right. Here we go. So I'm controlling the speed with 2 buttons. Now I can slow down, I can speed up, but obviously I want to be at just the right speed for me to be smooth. But sometimes you get confused. I get confused and I press this fast speed instead of slow speed. So I speed up instead of slowing down. But that's part of the journey. And what I've been working on is my breath work when I'm doing this. Just like breathing and calming myself. Obviously talking makes it harder, but I don't want to make it easier myself. I'm actually choosing to train hard. Normally I'd get past this easy. Keep going. Recover. Oh, damn it. Let's see. I'm also actually no actuallys. I'm also a little bit cold. Okay, that's better than last week. My best is usually around about 260 something, and about 15 down here. So pretty close to my best. Still 100%, but I could hit 260 something. So not too bad. Anyways, I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to keep working on that. You know how it is. Right, check on the chat. How are we? Yeah, try it. I'll drop the link in the chat. That way you've got it. That exercise is actually free. So actually, did I just say actually? Did I just say actually? Okay, I rephrase. That exercise is completely free. So what you do is you sign up, you get an account, and yeah, hyper focused. Oh, good one. 100. Okay, so I beat your prediction, Ayub. So that's the link, and it allows you to set up an account and to try out. So that exercise I did is actually free. Actually, the exercise I did is free of charge. So give it a go and let me know next week how you do, because I'm quite curious. But it takes a little while. I've been practicing that for probably about a year or so. Yeah. Just give it a go. It's a really good one. And it's got different airlines, and you can, if you ever have an assessment with an airline, you can select which airline, and it tries to replicate what those assessments might be like. I don't know where they get the information from, but in my experience, it was fairly reliable this year. So that was good. Anyways, let's get this show on the road. Let's have a serious conversation. But before we do, you get a moment. to get a little smile on your face and laugh at me doing ridiculous radio calls.
Will 01, is that Bravo 1? Bravo 1, we'd like to back up to the RP, please.
Will 01, nothing to affect your backtrack to RP.
Roger, backtracking. Will 01.
Well, you knew what you meant.
Coolio, check that out. It's on my YouTube page, Future Pilot 901, and it's season 2. Season 2, you get to see me make mistakes and learn from them and work towards my private pilot's license. Okay, so first topic for today. Let's take this to the next level. Let's take this to the next level. All right. Where are we? Have you guys come across this before? I like to share some ideas that allows us to improve ourselves, because if you're not getting better, then what's the point? Right? All positive emotions come from progress towards a worthy goal. And to have progress, we need to be growing. Have you guys ever seen this before? So, this past week, I was in bed, chilling, relaxing, shoot some people outside of, and a couple of guys who are up to no good started making trouble in the neighborhood. I got in one little fight. My mom got sick. She said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle to Bel Air." Anyways, that's not what happened. But I was in bed and I was thinking, it's time to get up. I kind of want to go back to sleep. I just want just a little bit extra, just a little bit extra, just a little bit more. And then I slept a little bit extra. And when I woke up, I found that I felt exactly the same way as I did when I decided to snooze. And I was thinking, damn, there I was looking for comfort, looking for that, everything feels great now, looking for that comfort. And that comfort never came. That comfort never came. And then I realized that in life, our brain tricks us to seek that comfort, the comfort that never comes, because we seek for that comfort in a relaxed place, right? I want to snooze and feel comfortable. I want to not have to apply for that scholarship, because, if I apply for it, then there's nerves and I have to attend an interview and there's nerves. So I'd rather just sit back and be comfortable. Sit back and be comfortable. So, whenever I experience things, I try to think about it from like a psychological point of view, because like I've told you guys before, I wouldn't, I'm still relatively at the beginning of my journey of becoming a pilot. I've got a PPL. I'm on about 125 hours or so, hoping to go commercial one day, hoping to become a flight instructor one day. But I wouldn't have got this far had I not had a mental transformation. And so when I speak to student pilots, a lot of the times what I see that is lacking is the mental side of it. Because the skill, you can learn it, right? You can practice and practice. And if you don't get it, you can practice and find another way to practice. Obviously, you need a base level of aptitude, right? Let's be real about that. Let's be fully real about that. You need a base level, so you need some coordination. But the truth is, there is no one can truly put a limit to what you can do, especially if you have that dream inside of you and it burns inside of you. Like, nobody can tell you what you can't do, not even yourself. Well, you can, and you will stop yourself from putting in the effort. But if you have that passion inside of you, then it's there for a reason. But the biggest gap between where we are and accomplishing our dream is usually right between our ears. So whenever I go through experiences, I try to focus on the mental aspect of it, right? And so when I was in bed and snoozing and all that, waking up, and after I snoozed and I didn't have more comfort, like you think it's comfortable to not go to the gym, right? And you think you'll feel better, but then weeks later, when you've not been exercising, it actually doesn't feel comfortable. I take back the word actually. It doesn't feel comfortable. And so that's where I realized that true comfort doesn't come from sitting back. Like, true comfort comes from hitting the gym because it's the right thing to do, even when you don't feel like hitting it. Because when you feel stronger, you will be more comfortable in environments. You'll be more comfortable carrying your bags up the stairs without like crashing out. You'll be more comfortable answering questions because you've been studying. You'll be more comfortable being alert because you've been exercising. You'll be more comfortable, in your finances because you've been saving and investing. Let's go. Do you see how I weaved that into the conversation? Yes, I just wove that in, right? So you think, oh, it's uncomfortable investing money. It's uncomfortable because your capital, your money is at risk. So it's uncomfortable. Well, when you don't have financial freedom and you don't have wealth further down the line, that's going to be your uncomfortable too. It's going to be uncomfortable. So that comfort will actually come in time if you do the harder thing. But it reminded me of this because this is something I look at, especially when I, worked with children or even with people. This is something really useful to know. So I'll just talk through this quickly. Actually, I won't talk through it quickly because I want you guys to get the benefit of this and I want to know your thoughts. I'll finish going through this and then I'll have a look at the chat. So right in the middle there, in the green, that's your comfort zone. That's you not trying. That's you relaxing. That's me snoozing. That's you maybe driving. You're so comfortable now because you've done it for so long. You don't even have to think, right? But you're not growing. It gets boring. It gets repetitive. You zone out. You can do an autopilot. And then on the opposite side, you got your panic zone. Now, this is very, very important to know, especially when you're working on supporting other people, as well as being compassionate with yourself. We all, I mean, I don't know anybody who ever woke up and said, and when I say woke up, I mean became conscious of themselves and said, I want to find these set of things difficult, you know, like studying or reading. I want that to be really hard for me, or, you know, I want to be really bugged out by this other thing. You know, I want to be really bugged out by people shouting. That just sets me in a panic. Nobody does that. We all discover our brain, and our brain is wired a certain way, right? Now, we can rewire the brain to a good amount. But the truth is, we usually find ourselves in that situation where we like certain things, we hate certain things, we find certain things difficult, we've got certain insecurities, right? And the thing to know about the panic zone is that when you're in the panic zone, I take back the word actually. When you're in the panic zone, your stress response is activated. What does that mean? That means your stress hormones are activated, which means your thinking brain is actually not working. You're down to fight, flight, freeze, appease, that kind of level, right? You're down to instincts now, because it's almost like your body is not waiting for your conscious mind to react, because you might need to react quite quickly. So when you touch fire, right, you don't think, "Ooh, I just touched the fire and it's really hot. I should probably move my hand right now or it'll burn." No, you just go and you move away straight away, right? Because your body is trying to protect you. So there is such a thing as going too far and being in a panic zone. And that's not a good place to be, because you don't actually learn. You're too wired up to learn anything. And this is why I say it's important to know this about people maybe you might be coaching or helping or instructing, because if they're in a panic zone, let's say you're a flight instructor, you've got a student and you're up in the air, you're giving them instructions and they're like, and I've had some of those moments, they're like, I don't know what's going on, right? They've just gone into a stress response. They've gone into a panic zone. At that moment, there is nothing, like whatever you tell them, whatever they try to learn, it's not going to stick, because that's the nature of our panic zone, right? And we think chuck them in the deep end. Yeah, but there's a balance to it. What you want to do is be right in this learning zone where it's comfortable enough, but uncomfortable enough at the same time, where it's something that you're used to, but there's a stretch to it. All right. Another theory would call that the Vygotsky, the zone of proximal development, right? That's where you want to be. So why do I say all of that? I say that to say, as a reminder to myself, to you, don't seek comfort sitting back, because it's never going to come. It's a comfort that never comes. Don't seek comfort not trying to invest, because it's a risk. Don't seek comfort not applying. Don't seek comfort not exercising when you're supposed to. Seek the comfort that comes in your learning zone when you're a little bit stretched. Look for that stretch, because that stretch is going to make you stronger. That stretch is going to make you faster. That stretch is going to make you sharper. That stretch is going to make you more confident. And so that when you step to the next opportunity, you're going to have the confidence that you need. All right. So that's my little sharing for today. Reminder, because I think sometimes we all need these reminders. And I think above all, I need this reminder because sometimes I do drift into my comfort zone, or I can even drift into my panic zone very often because I like to chuck myself in the deep end. But it's important to know when that's too much and to scale it back a little bit, you know? It's very, very important because becoming a pilot or becoming whatever you're trying to become to achieve your dream, it's all a mental game. It's all a mental game. It really is. And, you know, some of us have to work a lot harder at it than others, and that's okay. But whatever you have to make the most of it. In life, we're dealt cards. Whatever body you have, that's all you're going to get. Whatever brain you have, that's all you're going to get. Whatever, you know, skin you have, that's all you're going to get. And all you can do is make the most of it. All you can do is make the most of it. Cool. Now that we've got rid of a few people, we can talk about the money. The only one that can stop you is you. Correct. Yeah. The only one that can stop you is you. You're the biggest challenge in your way. A lot of the time we think, oh, my boss is the issue. My, you know, the lack of money is the issue. We come up, my boyfriend is the issue. My girlfriend's the issue. My this, that, and the third is the issue. When actually the biggest issue is in here. Yes, you have to build tolerance 100%. You have to build tolerance. There's no other way. There's no other way. And this is sometimes what that theory is very useful for children as well, because sometimes we try to save children from challenges, right? They trip over. Oh, come. No. You don't have to save you from that challenge. You can figure yourself out. And if I see you're in your panic zone, then I'll step in and make it a little bit easier. But we need you not fully comfortable, not in a panic zone, just a little bit stretched, a little bit comfortable, a little bit stretched. All right. So before we get talking about the money, you guys can help me make some money. Do you know how you can help me make some money? And also make yourself some money by proxy. Do you know how you can help me? By watching some of my videos, man. Watch some of my videos. If you haven't already, what are you doing with your life? Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. I've always loved flying.
Hello. Under the radar. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to a new place to dance with a new face. Enjoying the wings a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty.
Just made a no-fly decision.
Squawk on switch UT, 3 shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, joy and downwind.
I call it fly to dance.
Full flaps.
Ooh, nice one.
Flaps come up.
Well, flight, man.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man.
Everything, bro.
That flight definitely put me in my learning zone. I was definitely not comfortable. I was not comfortable in that flight. I think I even needed a change of underwear because yeah, just watch it. I can't tell you more about it. If you've not seen it, go watch it. But now we're going to get to the serious business of talking money, okay? And I really want to build this up. And you know, like, one of the things I usually think about with these videos is I sometimes, a lot of the time, I think about the future. I think about my children, and I think, what do I want them to see? What do I want them to learn? And so sometimes I share these things with you guys as a reminder to me, maybe to help you out, but really it's for future generations, for my future generations. I want them to have something to learn from. So this is how I go into it. So I like to break things down and walk things step by step. So the idea is we want to move towards investing, right? And sometimes we think we want to kind of get to it, but there's some things that I've discovered on my journey that's foundational, so that when you do get there, everything makes sense. So we're just going to have to walk this through, and we're not rushing because this is a weekly show and it gives you a reason to come back next week, you know, because I need you guys. I need your eyeballs. I need your eyeballs on this channel so that I can drive the analytics and the stats up. Right. So let's talk about money. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about money. I've got some visuals to share with you guys about that dosh, about that wonga. I don't know if can you guys hear the fireworks? There's like mad fireworks right outside my my window. All right. All right. All right. Can you see that? Can you see that? Cool. No, that cuts it. So let's go this view. No, let's go this view. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's have a look at that. Ignore my cursor because it's not actually on that screen. I'm on a completely different screen. So let's talk about money. Okay. So the key question I want to answer is, how should you store money? How should you store money? But before we talk about how you store money, it's very important that we actually discuss what money is. Because if you're going to be investing money, we should probably slow it down and talk about what money is. So in the chat, what is money? What is money? What is money in the chat? Oh, so it is that loud. Value, okay. I like that. I like that. That's a good one. Okay, well, listen, I'm going to share with you some of the definitions that I've come across, that I know that, and most importantly, the thing about definitions is sometimes you can define something in different ways, but you need to define it in a way that helps you to achieve your goal, right? So that's the angle I'm coming at it from. So what is money? Money is basically a store of value. So shout out to Ayub. Shout out to Ayub. You got that right. Money is a store of value. Yeah. Now, back in the day, what used to happen was we didn't have money like we have it today, right? And what we had was things. So I'll bring you this clock, and maybe you have fruit, and we exchange a number of clock for fruit, and that's the trade, right? So obviously the clock is valuable, the fruit's valuable, everything that you can buy basically, or that you're willing to buy, is valuable. And then at some point, when it's kind of like a bit heavy to carry all these things around. So why should we keep carrying? Then I have to carry all the stuff I need to trade and put it on the back of a horse and carry it all the way to the market. And so then there was this idea of, actually within this region, we'll print out these bits of paper. Oh, I just so happen to have money here. We print out these bits of paper, and what we'll do is we will hold that valuable thing, yeah, which at some point was gold. So I'm gonna hold the gold instead of you carrying gold around, and then somebody finds you and goes, "Hey, what's that you got there?" It's just some gold I got. Oh, really? And they take your gold. So instead of that happening, you then go and you put your gold, pretend this is gold, in the bank, and then they give you this like a receipt. This is basically a receipt. All right. This represents something valuable. All right. So then this makes it easy. I can carry it around. I can give it to you, exchange. And then whenever the idea was, whenever you want to get what this represents back, you can take it to the bank. They give you the gold. You give them their paper back and you're good. All right. So that's the idea. So money is a store of value. Very important to know. All right, cool. Next thing. Money is a store of value. Now we're going to talk about how should you store money, or how should you store value? How should you keep that? Now, there's different options that you got, all right? There's different options, and most of us, we already have some kind of cash. Yeah, you got cash. Now, when we say cash in financial terms, it doesn't just mean this. So normally when you go to pay, they say, do you want to pay by cash or by card? Or I'd like to pay cash, and you give them money. Or I'd like to pay by card, or you've got, your phone, Apple Pay, Google Pay, beep, you touch it. Now, what you're doing usually is still using cash. It's just electronically, right? So you're storing cash, whether it's under your bed, whether it's in a bank account, a current account, for example, it's still cash, right? It's just sitting there, right? Or the other thing you can do is you can put your money in a savings account. You can put it in a savings account. Maybe you've got interest rate of 3%. If you're lucky and you go to somewhere like Monzo, you might get 5%. If the economy is particularly good, you might, be around about that much. Or you can invest the money. So you got three options. There's probably something I'm missing, but that's how you can keep it. Yeah, exactly. So your assets would be investment, right? Because you don't have to hold it. You can invest in physical assets. You can invest in property. You can invest in buying lots of stuff that you then sell, right? That's investment. I'm going to count that as investment. So yes, I agree with you there, Ayub. Yeah, I agree with you. So cash. Now, each one of these has its own benefits and its own problems. So what's the good thing about cash? Again, whether it's in a bank account or in your hand, under your bed, like some of the women do, they get money and they... So wherever you're hiding your cash, what is the value of having cash? It's liquid, right? You can use it very quickly, right? Accessible very quickly. Benefit. What's the downside of having cash? Have you noticed that, for example, £20 will buy you a lot less today than it did years ago? Have you ever thought about that? How things now, the same amount of money has less buying power. That's the downside of money. That's the result of something called inflation. And basically, without getting too geeky about it, inflation is, now remember, all of this is to get into investing, why it's important to invest. Inflation is basically this. Look, if I've got one pen and you all want it, I've got one plane and everybody wants this plane, all right? I can set my price and say, do you know what? This airplane is a Cirrus S22 and it's going at £1 million. Okay. Now, because there's only one Cirrus S22 at £1 million, it's more valuable, basically. And whoever wants it is going to have to pay that £1 million. Now, imagine Ayub comes in, he's got, I've got exactly exactly the same as Cirrus S22. I'll sell it to you for half the price. Right? Now, who will you buy from? The 1 million Cirrus or the 500,000 Cirrus? Okay, now if you want to be savvy with your money, you're going to go for this. Then I'm going to look at that and say, oh, AAIB is underselling me. Yes, you're going to pay the lower amount. AAIB is selling, do I need to bring my price down or whatever? Now there's price competition. So the more of it that exists, the less valuable it becomes. That's why mobile phones used to be more expensive before, and then they made it, the technology is more widespread, it becomes cheaper, right? Now, money gets printed. They print more and more money. So each time they print more money, the money that's out there becomes less valuable. That's what happens. So if you've got your money in cash and it's just sitting there and you're thinking, yay, I've got money and I'll save up for my flight training, guess what? As you go, especially if it's going to take you like years to actually pay for your training, your money is going to lose value over that time. If you're saving for 5 years, 3 years, your money is going to lose value over that time because it's in cash. So savings, very nice. It's a good option. Allows you to, have money for a rainy day, in case you have emergencies. It's really good. Now, downside with saving it is basically the bank takes your money and they invest it. They lend it to other people. They make extra money. They take on a lot of risk. And what they do is, because they're taking on that risk and they're guaranteeing you a profit, they give you a tiny, tiny bit of profit. Tiny bit of profit, right? That's what happens. They take on the risk. They invest the money. They take the losses. They take the wins. And then they give you a tiny amount, but overall they win, right? Otherwise they wouldn't exist. Now, that brings us to what we want to focus on: investing. What happens with investing? What happens with investing? Okay. Now, as Ayub mentioned, it could be assets, physical assets, properties. It could be, using financial instruments. It could be buying stocks and shares, which is like what we're going to talk about. Now, the issue with this is, the good thing is you can choose what level of risk you want to go into. You can have high risk, which could mean high reward, or you could have high risk and lose your money. And so there's more risk here, but there's ways you can do it to kind of give yourself the best chance. And this is what we're going to be looking at, because when you're trying to save money over a long period of time, your savings account has, to give you an idea, your savings account gives you what, at the top end in the UK, you're going to get 5% interest. My portfolio over the last 2 years is about 150, 160% profit. I would definitely have not got that level of profit from a savings account. If you've got lots of money and you can afford you're kind of nearly there, okay, yeah, cool, you can use a savings account and take your time. If you're wanting to build wealth over a really, really long time and have compound interest, savings account is going to do you good. If you want to multiply your wealth and take some risk, then investing is for you. All right. Enough said. Now, again, I want to take this step by step because I want to bring, people are going to join at different places from different levels with different background information. And have you ever noticed when people listen to you, everyone takes away something different to some degree? When people listen to you, everyone takes away something different. Because everyone comes with a different brain, with a different set of preferences, with a different bit of life history, different background, different experiences. So what I'm trying to do is synchronize us so that when I'm talking about stuff, you know where I'm coming from, right? So that's why it's so important to go through it step by step. Now, what is the point of investing? What is the point of investing? That is a question for the audience. What is the point of investing? What is the point of investing? Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. It's not it's not more complicated than that. It's very simple. Make money. Make money. Maybe it's for your retirement, maybe it's for you to afford, flight training and get your air transport pilot's license, for example. So let's get back to this then. Let's set some basics in place. So the whole point of investing is to make a profit. Now, for you to make a profit, basic, you need to buy low, sell high. It's that simple. I want to buy this pen at £1. I want to sell it at £2, which meant I've made £1 profit. Okay. I want to buy this phone at £10. I want to make it like Samsung, make it at about £20, sell it about £700. That's what I want to do, right? That's what you're hoping for the investments. And so you want to buy low, sell high. This is price on this column. So the price is going up, then it's going down, then it's going up and down, then it's going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But generally, this is the trajectory. Yeah. That's the general line. So overall, it's gone up. But on the way to it going up, it's gone up and down along the way. That's really important to know if you're going to be investing. Because what happens is sometimes you would invest, the value goes down, and then you freak out and you sell it and you lose your money. I'll give you an example. And we're coming to the end of this segment. Bitcoin in 2022, I want to say, got down to around about 14,000 per Bitcoin. Now, what you do is fractional. So what that means is you don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy a fraction of the Bitcoin. So you could invest as little as $10, right? Or £10. Let's just go with pounds, or let's go with dollars actually, because it usually would be dollars. You'd use $10 and you'd buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. And a Bitcoin was worth around about 14,000 because it dipped. So it went high up to about 69,000 before. Then it went down, all the way down because of COVID and the economy was bad and it just, the outlook wasn't great. So a lot of people sold their Bitcoin and the value went down to about 14,000. Now, if it's like, let's say 15,000, nice round number. If it's at 15,000 per Bitcoin and you buy in then, and it goes from 15 to 30,000, it goes up, then that amount has doubled. So you also double. If you put in $10, you'd have $20. If you put in $100, you'd have $200. So whatever happens to the price when you buy in is what happens to your money. So if the price doubles, your money doubles. If the price halves, your money halves. That's how it works. Now, Bitcoin now is about, if I checked it today, it's about 111,000. That's almost 10 times what it was worth when it dipped. That's almost 10 times. So if, say, you'd invested in that, and hey, do your own research. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. If you did, you would have 10x'd your money. Okay. So that's the beauty of investing. Now, there's a risk to it, and we'll talk about managing that risk as we talk about money. But this is what we are. Yeah, this is what we're aiming for, trying to make that money. All right. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Nice. 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 Let's go. Okay, so we're going to talk that investment talk. I like it. 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 We're going to talk that investment talk. Nice. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, big difference. You'll probably hear the term trading and you'll hear the term investing. The biggest difference is that trading, you could be looking at, hours or days. You buy, you sell, you buy, you sell. You're constantly transacting. And what you're doing is you're taking advantage of the ups and downs in the market. It goes down, you buy, it goes up, you sell, it goes down, you buy, it goes up, you sell. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be hourly, whatever. But investing is about having a long-term view. So if you've got a 10-year view, it might go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, but it's constant, but it's still going up. So over 10 years, it's gone up this much, right? So investors are thinking more long-term. Yeah, I don't personally do Forex. I stay away from it. It's beyond my area of knowledge. But yes, people, yes, they trade for foreign currencies, so that when it goes down, they buy it. When it goes up, they sell it, and they do trading. But I don't do trading. I do investing. But yes, you're absolutely right. All right. So here are my top tips to wrap this up, the money section. My top tips if you're looking to get into investing. All right. And this is stuff that I've learned along the way, that I've heard from other people. Again, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. I just want to share some information so people can get started. All right. Cool. Here are my top tips. I remember when I first started investing, I invested $10. Told somebody about it. They were like, you only invested $10. Like, you're going to need more than that. What's more important is you building your inner identity of being an investor. I used to say, I'm going to learn, do you know what? I'm going to learn all of these things first, and then I'll go invest. I'm going to learn how it all works, and then I'll go invest. And I realized that was a recipe for, because I just never got started. I never got started. So what I did is I looked at it and I said, what's the least amount that I can invest? Okay, I can invest as little as $10. Cool. I'm going to be okay if I lose $10. I'm not going to die. Like, my life is not going to be over. Like, it's not going to be that deep. It's really not that deep. Okay. So I was like, cool, I'm just going to go for it. Invest $10, figure this out along the way. But what you do is, because you start, you actually build an identity. You feel like, do you know what? I'm an investor. Suddenly you start paying attention to all the news, the financial news. Suddenly you're hearing things that you didn't hear before. You understand things that you didn't understand before. It's kind of like when you say, do you know what? I'm going to buy a car. Do you know what car I'm going to buy? I'm going to buy a Kia, or I'm going to buy a Toyota. suddenly you start to see Toyotas everywhere, right? Because in life, we actually don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So when you become an investor, you will see a lot more than you can possibly ever see when you're on the outside. Just like when you become a student pilot, when you become a pilot, when you experience whatever it is, you will see a lot more because your brain, the way your brain processes will change. We actually do not see with our eyes. We actually do not hear with our ears. We actually do not smell with our nose. It's our brain that does all the processing. So if your brain's not right, you're not going to smell it. If your brain's not right, you're not going to see it. If your brain's not right and your thinking's not right, you're not going to hear it. Like, wait, I didn't hear that. Yeah, because your brain was focused on something else. That's why you didn't hear it, right? So we don't, because if that was the case, we would never ever face something, that situation where we didn't hear something, even though it's clearly there, but we just didn't hear it. Why? But you have ears, right? So why didn't you hear it? Because your brain wasn't processing that. It was processing something else, because we actually don't hear with just our ears. We hear with our brain. So when you actually invest, you will develop the identity of being an investor, and a lot more things will make sense for you. So start small, grow big. Next thing is only invest what you can afford to lose. Very important. If you're going to be investing, only invest what you can afford to lose. What does that mean? On a monthly basis, how much can you invest? $10? $20? Cool. Can you invest $20 and not be in trouble? And, not struggle to pay your rent, not struggle to eat? Can you do that? Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. What about $100? No, if I did $100, I would have to have a diet here and there and not eat as much and lose some weight. Okay, cool. Let's come back down to $20. That's your amount. On a monthly basis, just invest that. Okay, because you can afford to lose $20, but you can't afford to lose 100. The important thing about that is, remember, the markets are going to go up and down. All right, they're going to go up and down. Now, if, let's say, for example, you've invested and you're here and it's going up and it's going up, it's going up, but then you need it's gone down and you need the money. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to take your money out of the investment. And in some cases, you might even be having to take a loss because, I need that money for food for this month, right? And that's not the case. You never want to be pressured to sell. You never want to be pressured to pull out of an investment. And the way you do that is by never investing more than what you can afford to lose. Number 3, invest in what you believe in. What does that mean? I have a Samsung phone. I use Samsung devices. I like Samsung. All right. Well, why don't you own a piece of it then? Makes sense. Aha. Own it. You like to wear, I don't know. You want to be a pilot. Yeah. You like airlines. All right. You like Ryanair. You like Ryanair. All right, cool. No shade. Well, I actually own a few shares in Ryanair. Yeah, I do. I've got some in EasyJet. I've got some of Boeing. Got some of Boeing, even though apparently it's the DEI that's causing that caused all the accidents. Okay, but anyways, I still got some shares in Boeing. Invest in what you believe in. When you think, and number 4 is have a 10-year outlook. When you think 10 years down the line, what companies are going to be here, right? People are still going to need medicine. People are still going to need some kind of travel. People are still going to need food. We're definitely going to be using AI some more, we're definitely going to be using technology. So I've got shares in Tesla, for example, right? And my Tesla shares are doing really well. When I heard that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul were going to fight last year, and if you watch that fight, I stayed up until 5 a.m. to watch Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Waste of my time. I'll never get that time back. It waste of my time. Waste of my time. But when I heard the news and I heard it was going to be on Netflix, I said, oh, right. So lots of people are going to buy Netflix subscriptions. What does that mean? That means there's going to be a lot of confidence about Netflix as a company, that they're going to be around for some time because lots of people are buying the product. They're profitable. Cool. That probably means the share price is going to go up. So guess what I did when I heard the announcement of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? I invested into Netflix. And now I'm making quite a good profit on it. So when you're an investor, you start to pay attention to some of these things, some of these trends, right? We're going to need AI. So jump into it. Again, do your own research. I'm just trying to, bridge the gap. Let's see. The best quote I was told about, the best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time. Yes. Exactly. The best time to invest was yesterday. And the second best time is today. Yep. Agreed. Yeah. Start as little as that. Nvidia stocks are the best. Okay. We got somebody who knows. Okay. Yeah. I've got a little bit in Nvidia as well. AMD took a huge jump the other day though, but I digress because now I'm getting geeky about it. Cool. So those are my tips. If you're looking to get into investing, you're looking to make your money grow, then that's a good place to go. Now, if you're wondering, look, what apps can I use, or how can I invest? Look, there's a bunch of apps there. I'm not affiliated to any of these. I'll tell you and be honest with you guys. I use eToro. I also use Trading 212. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of like spreading my investments across different platforms. So I know eToro the best. I'm learning Trading 212. I've heard Robinhood is good, especially as a beginner. It's a good way to just get started. MetaTrader is a lot more like trading rather than investing. Fidelity, I've heard, is good, that they don't have charges for investments, and so it can be good. Now, Nutmeg is an interesting one. We'll probably go into it next time or at some point. Plus 500, I don't know that much. What I will say about eToro is there's an interesting feature. I don't know if other platforms have this, but you could either invest on your own, right? Choose what you want to invest in, choose the companies you like, or if you're feeling a bit risky, you can invest in Bitcoin and maybe like Ethereum or XRP. Ayub, are you invested in XRP? Do you have any XRP? XRP, my XRP is like 200% profit at the moment. So if you're feeling frisky, you can go into crypto assets, but you can also just stay in stocks and shares. Not financial advice, but you might want to take a look at XRP. Not financial advice, but you might want to take a look at XRP. So I use eToro. Now, eToro has a feature. You can either do the manual trades yourself, or what you can do is you can find a successful investor and do what is called copy trading. So another idea is diversifying, which means you try not to have all your money tied up in one thing. You try to spread your investments. So some investment in tech companies, some investment in, like other different type of companies like AI companies, some investments in companies that you love, in a completely different industry. You want to kind of mix it up, right? And that's why I have mixed up my investments and also even the platforms that I use. Copy trading on eToro is interesting because what you can do is set up a certain pot of money to copy a successful investor, and you can see their history, you can see what profits they made, and what you can do is set a certain amount of money, let's say $200, to copy them. When they open an investment in Alibaba, you open an investment in Alibaba for this, like corresponding to their account. If they close the Alibaba and take their profit, it closes yours and you take your profit. If they open AMD shares, you open AMDs. If they buy, Nvidia, you buy Nvidia. So it just copies it. And obviously, because they have a track record and they do the research, they work and you get paid. That's the idea. They work and you get paid. What is the catch? Okay, good question. What's the catch? Now, I have a certain amount that's set to copy trading, and it's been copy trading for the last 2 years. Obviously, the downside is that your capital is at risk. Now, I have outperformed my copy trader every year, like massively, right? So currently they're on 50%. My account over the last 2 years has been on 150% profit. So I've outperformed them in my portfolio. Yes, I've been more risky. So obviously the value of your money can go down, right? Which is always a risk with investing. So that's a catch, I guess. I don't know how it fully works, but I think they get profits from other people, like they get profits on the back end, basically. You don't necessarily pay for that. So for me, so far, I have not found a catch. I've not found a catch. But again, do your own research. But I have not found a catch with the copy trading. It's just that you're obviously putting your trust in this person, but they don't have access to your money, right? So it's not the same as, hey, I'm going to give you my money, hold it and invest it. No, it's I've got my money, you've got your money, you invest and it just copies you. You invest and it just copies you. And those people have signed up for that. And they give you regular updates. They tell you what's happening in the market. They tell you what to expect. And they keep you up to date. So it's a really, really cool feature. It's a really cool feature. So have a look at that. If you're interested in having a look at that, I will put a link in the chat. Just take a look. And remember, don't invest more than what you're willing to lose. And start small. Start really small. Just kind of get used to it. See how it feels. Have an amount in your head. Think, okay, I'm willing to do £50 to try this out. Okay, cool. What I would say is break that $50 out to $10, $10, $10, $10, right? 5 sets of $10. And then put that 5 sets of $10 in different places and just kind of get to learn the market, get to learn how it goes. All right. Cool. So that was a lot more in depth than what I thought we'd go. But I think, I was just kind of following the thread to make sure everything makes sense. But if you want your money to grow, you might want to, look into one of these. Obviously, if you're on eToro, I'm happy to share with you. I've got nothing to gain. Again, I'm not affiliated in any way with any of these companies. I'm not receiving profits from anyone. I don't have an account of like affiliate account with anybody. This is literally just me sharing the little that I know. All right. Well, that wraps up the money update. Let's have a look. Anything in the chat? Yep. Okay, let me find my link. I was going to put that and I totally forgot. So I'm glad you asked that. Right, where's the link? I think in the past they've offered like a reward, but it's no longer there. So yeah, there is no reward. It's just a link for you to get referred. So you can have a look, see what you think. Let me know. Obviously, if I can answer any questions and make anything make sense, I'm happy to. But those are some of the apps. Now, Nutmeg is run by. I'll just mention this and then I'll wrap it up. Nutmeg is run by JP Morgan Chase, and they basically invest your money. You can see what they're doing with it, but they take it. They ask for a specific amount, and then you can keep adding some money, and they make the adjustments. And all you have to do is tell them at the beginning, or tell them, set your settings for what level of risk you want. High risk, medium risk, low risk. Obviously, high risk, you can get more reward, but they do it all for you. But you have it on the app. You can see, they've invested in this company, they've invested in that company. Okay, cool. And they give you a projection of what your profits would look like. So again, that's like they do it for you. So that's a good way to get into it if again you're interested in that. That's the Nutmeg app. I know a couple of people. I have a friend who uses it, and they swear by it. But I like to make my own trades and my own investments. I'll give you an example. For example, back to this. What happened with Bitcoin last couple of days is it dropped a little bit. And what I did was, so it dipped a little bit. And what I did was what we call buying the dip. So I bought the dip, and then today I've already made like 5% profit on it, if not 10%. So yeah, you can buy the dip. That's also another strategy that you can use. Anyways, that's the money update. And now we can move on. And in the future, now that we've got this base, I can just move on to the next bits in terms of investments. But there we go. That's your money talk. Cool. Do you know what else is cool? Do you know what else is cool? I'll tell you. Speaking of cool, this is cool. I got to film my flying lessons, and you.
Nice takeoff.
That's a screw. I was waiting for that because everyone does it.
I'm gonna make sure that you can do it. And you can do it, I know.
Gonna get to the height of a double-decker bus.
How about this high?
Smoothly throttle to idle. Smoothly raise the nose.
This is floating. It's float.
Yes, man. Good food after hard days of flying, bro.
Bro, it's needed, man. That landing. Woo. I'm worn out.
Yes. Now I have some business to do before we talk aviation. There we go. Wait. Hold on. I've got some business to attend to here. Okay, well, I'm going to say shout out to AAIB. Appreciate your help. You are now a mod on Kick. My first mod on Kick. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you use Robinhood. Great, 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 great. I think I might start using Robinhood as well. But how are you finding it? Do you like it? Is it easy to use? Does it make sense to you? And how long have you been investing? How long have you been investing? And also, if you have any tips, please put them in the chat so that I can read them out loud, because you sound like you know what you're doing. And, you know, it's all about all of us learning. Cool, 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 cool. I knew it was a busy show today. I knew it was a busy show today. All right. So let's go to the AAIB October bulletin, because I think this is a good one. I say it's a good one. I can hardly say it's a good one, but it's a short one. Okay, you've been investing for 2 months. So far, easy. Cool. Nice. Nice. Congrats, man. Really good. Really good. And you said you held Bitcoin from 2019. What account or what app did you use to hold Bitcoin? I'm curious. Was it Robinhood as well, or was it something else like, I don't know, Coinbase or something like that? Cool, 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 cool. So AAIB or Air Accident Investigation Branch Bulletin for October. Let's have a look. What do they have for us? Now, remember, this is for the UK, and gosh, these fireworks are crazy. One second. I'm going to close my window because this is madness. And I'm going to, let's go. Where should we go? Let's have a look at this. There's no denying. I've always loved flying.
Hello. Under the radar. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to a new place to dance with a new face. Enjoying the wings a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty.
Just made a no-fly decision.
Squawk conspicuity, 3-4 shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, join downwind.
I call it fly to dance.
Full flaps.
Ooh, nice one.
Flaps come up.
Well, flight, man.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man.
Everything, bro.
Cool, cool, cool. What are they celebrating? They're celebrating Diwali. I believe that's the festival of light, is it? Diwali. They usually have candles and stuff like that. I remember doing it at school. Yeah, so it's Diwali celebrations today. So shout out to anybody celebrating Diwali. Good wishes to you. Right. Okay. So you said Binance, Zappo. I've never heard of that. Zappo wallet. Interesting. I might look into that. Let me highlight that. Okay. Interesting. Now Binance. Okay. I've heard about Binance. I've never used it myself, but okay. Cool. Good to know. Good to know. Right. AAIB updates. Air Accident Investigation Branch Bulletin for October. Of course, they've got different categories here. You got commercial air transport, then you got general aviation, and you got unmanned aircraft systems. Now, these are AAIB field investigation, commercial air transport, fixed wing, none, rotorcraft, none. General aviation, fixed wing, none, rotorcraft, none, sports aviation, none, unmanned aircraft systems, none. Do you know what that means? That means we should celebrate. Yeah. Because what that means is there was nothing major that happened that had to be investigated in the field. Obviously, it could mean that, you know, it just wasn't reported, but it would have to be quite big. And you kind of can't hide big issues like, I don't know, not clipping, but damaging the wing and having it kind of break a building or something. You can't really hide that. So yeah, so it looks like it's been a pretty safe period in that area, which is really good. All right, these are correspondence investigations, and obviously we like to focus on general aviation. So nothing in the record only investigation, and nothing in the miscellaneous as well. So let's have a look at this one, Spitfire. I think we covered this. So we've actually already covered this. I covered this last stream. This is the Spitfire, but we'll just have a quick look at what they're telling us. So this is what happened to the Spitfire. All right. Basically, the aircraft had been flying for around 35 minutes when the pilot, actually we looked at it, but it was a news story, so we didn't get this information on the pilot. So I'm usually curious on the profile of the pilot, so let's just talk about that. Aircraft type and registration was a Spitfire IXT Golf Bravo Mike Sierra Bravo. It's got a Rolls-Royce Merlin 266 piston engine. Interesting. Year of manufacture is 1943. Date and time of this incident was the 3rd of May 2025, about 6:20 p.m. Location near Hythe, Kent. So that is on the south east of England. Now, persons on board, 1 passenger, 1, and Ayub was saying it was a good deal to pay £7,000 for 75 minutes in this. Crazy. Hey, maybe if I invest and make good profits, I could treat myself by having a flight in a Spitfire. Let's go back. So the commander's age was 49 years old. Experienced 7,368 hours, of which 60 were on type. The 90 days or 3 months preceding this flight, they had 55 hours, and in the last 28 days, they had 10 hours. So pretty good, pretty recent. Information source: air accident report form submitted by the pilot and further inquiries by the AAIB. So basically, the aircraft had been flying for about 35 minutes when the pilot noticed a slight engine vibration. This was rapidly followed by power loss. The pilot noted a distinct smell of fuel in the cockpit and suspected a fuel problem. He briefed his passenger and established a stable glide descent to carry out a wheels-up forced landing in a field. The aircraft landed on its underside and came to a stop. The passenger suffered minor injuries. The pilot wasn't injured. Do you know why? I think the pilot in command usually sits in the back. Am I correct? Does the pilot in command of a Spitfire sit front or back? Oh, it sits in the front cockpit, which is the primary seating position for the pilot. Like the two-seater had a rear cockpit for pilot or instructor. Interesting. I don't trust that Google search. I have, because normally instructors sit behind, which makes more sense because they would see. So I wondered if the passenger got injured because of their sitting position. But glad they're both relatively safe. Well, they obviously survived, which is really good. Examination of the cause. The aircraft was recovered to the operator's maintenance facilities and examined. From the description given by the pilot, a substantial fuel leak within the engine bay was suspected. This was confirmed, and a gasket fitted to the carburetor fuel low pressure switch assembly cover plate was found to have degraded, probably due to aging. The switch had developed an external leak at system pressure because casement securing screws on the switch body had loosened off. Aging effects in elastometric components such as gasket, including shrinking and hardening, and it is possible that this resulted in the screws no longer being at the correct clamping torque. The fuel pressure switch was at least 70 years old, and its last overhaul date was unknown. Okay, so it was a fuel leak. Of course, I'm going to jump down to the conclusion, but if you want to have a read, you can always Google and have a read. It's always useful to educate yourself on these things. Conclusion. The engine lost power when a failed gasket in the fuel pressure warning switch allowed pressurized fuel to spray into the engine bay and be drawn into the induction system, which led to an overly rich fuel mixture, resulting in the power loss. The pilot completed a successful forced landing because his training and practice enabled him to identify a suitable landing site within the gliding capacity of the aircraft, to prioritize his actions and to effectively manage the aircraft engine. Well done, sir. Well done. What if you wanted to know a little bit about forced landings? What if you wanted to know a little bit about forced landings? Well, good thing I've got a video for that. I've actually got a video for that. When I was doing my flying lessons, let's check this out.
They could have
I have no engine.
Roger, no engine. We got guys coming to you. They could have survived this impact, but they burnt. They definitely had some kind of a problem, and they were in a hurry to get back to pavement. I don't care about the pavement. Forget the pavement. Put the airplane down. Come on. Back, baby. Back, baby.
How does it feel to be back? Good? Oh, okay, you ready? So, go around.
Boost.
Cool, okay, you ready? Engine failure.
Looking at the brown field.
Perhaps turn base at the same point, but instead of making a downwind super narrow, make the downwind slightly wider.
It's a lot easier on those flight sim.
I'm sure, yeah. They're quite good fun, these, aren't they, aside from the learning objective. They are quite a good laugh.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to. My name is Dee. I don't know is 7K. The hydraulic
I had
that wealth of backup
more hair there.
can do is by flight.
Okay, I want to show you guys my flight
demonstration.
Do if I had an engine.
Okay, I want to show you guys my flight instructor's demonstration for forced landings in a Cessna.
failure en route.
So, which technique are you liking the idea of? Are you liking the idea of turning downwind and looking, or are you liking the idea of just big 360, have a good look all around, and then pick a field and pick the circuit?
I chose the downwind method. If I had an engine failure, this would mean trimming for the best glide speed as I turn downwind to glide in the same direction as the wind is blowing, which would give me the maximum gliding range. I would then select a field in the same orientation, fly a base leg and final leg into the wind, giving me the lowest ground speed possible on touchdown. Finally, I got a chance to do something to my instructor that he had done to me many times. I pulled the power out to simulate engine failure.
Alright, engine failure, so no panic. Hold the nose up and try not to lose any altitude until you get that 65 knots. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, we've aviated, 65 knots, we're in trim, wind's from the north, so I'm going to turn southbound and then look for a field. I've got sufficient altitude, I'm 2,000 feet. I'm just going to turn roughly southbound, see if I can spot a nice field. Makes my life really easy because there should, it should just be anything that's sort of pointing in this direction. So, I'm not just going to look for ones on the left. You see this nice big green one down here with a lake on the end?
Roger.
That's my field, so I'm just going to land like that. So plan is, we're going straight ahead here, turn base where those houses are. We've aviated, we've navigated. We're going to do the checks now. So, primer is in and locked. Magnetos are on both. Carb heat is on, mixture's full rich. Have a look at my field, probably a little bit tight, so I'll come out to the left. Fuel select's on, propeller's turning, no restart. Mayday, mayday, mayday. South end radar, Golf Lima Oscar Mike November, engine failure, landing in a field just to the west of the A12, which is going to warm the engine. We've done pretty much all our tasks we can do for now, so when we get to those houses, we'll be sort of turning base, and that's our field down there. Got plenty of overshoot options, the surface looks okay, so I'm happy. I'm a little bit higher than I'd like to be turning base, so I'm just going to extend a tiny bit further this way.
No height indication.
Probably start to turn in about now, because I want to be conservative. Ground around here is about 300 foot, so 1,000 feet turning base. Bit of a sense check, that looks good. Raise the wing. So that's our field there. So I'd say we're definitely going to make it even off the end. So I'm going to start to add some flap about now. 1 stage, 2 stage. Lower the nose, keep the speed. And I'm just going to stay out here for a bit longer just to burn off a bit more height. Lower the nose to keep the speed and then turn in. So our field is that one, dead ahead on the nose. Visual with it, we definitely make it in there. So we'll go around, so carpet goes away, power goes to full, pitch for about the horizon because we got flap 30, put them.
Yeah, so that's how calm and chilled you're supposed to be when you lose your engine and the Grim Reaper is standing behind you ready to whack your head. Apparently that's how calm you should be. I'm still working on getting to those levels of calm. It's very impressive. It's very impressive and very inspiring. He's a really good instructor. He currently flies for, actually I can't say because he might not want me to tell you. But yeah, it's a really good instructor. Anywho, that brings us down. Yeah, I look super calm because I'm not doing anything. He's super calm. I'm not. Like, I know it's a practice and I'm freaking out. So yeah, it's something to practice. Again, going back to, the whole learning zone, comfort zone, panic zone, like, as soon as you say engine failure, even if it's simulated, and I know we're practicing, it's like engine failure, And it really, and this is why for me, it's a mental game. That's not a skill game. That's a mental game. Being able to be in that moment and just take a deep breath. Okay, what's happening? So yeah, that's what I'm working on constantly, even with the assessments for the airlines. That's what I'm working on, just being calm, because a lot of the time I can do something really well, but I just get too tense. That's my kind of bias, my own issues, my proclivity, if I don't watch out, I get too tense really quickly. So I have to be very conscious about being calm, because we're all good. We're all good. All right. So that brings us to our final topic for today. Shout out to everyone who is still hanging on. You are still hanging on to this show. You're like hanging on. You're hanging on. You see how I chucked in a bit of a mime in there for you guys? That was for free. Don't make me start. Don't make me start my yo. Don't make me start miming. Oh yeah, it's gone quick. Oh, brilliant. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Thank you for the feedback. Listen, I love feedback, whether it's, feedback I'm happy with or feedback I'm not happy with. I love feedback because, when you don't see the frame when you're in the picture. And so you rely on people outside to actually tell you. And I'm one of those people where when I take feedback, like there's nothing that you can say that can offend me, like in terms of feedback. Now, if you're trying to diss me, we might have to get it on. Yeah? But if you're not dissing me, you're just telling me honest feedback, it might be hard to hear, but I'd rather hear it and make the adjustment than not hear it. And that's part of what watching myself back is, to actually see myself from an outsider's point of view and give myself feedback. And that's why my feedback this week was I'm not allowed to say the word actually, because I tend to say that too many times, sometimes even 3 times in a sentence. Right. Final topic for today. VHF low level common frequency. Do you guys know what that is? VHF low level common frequency. It's actually really important. Actually, take that back. It's very important. It's very important. Does anyone know what it is? Do you know what it is? Where is it? Oh yeah. Well, if you didn't know, I'm about to tell you exactly what it is. Right. VHF low level common frequency. Share this tab instead. Here we go. Let's have a look at this, because this is actually quite importante. Es muy importante. Or if you want to hear in French. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot Ayub speaks French. C'est très important. Okay. let's have a look. Do you know what the VHF low level common frequency is? Should you use it? And the frequency is 130.490 megahertz. Following a suggestion some years ago by a civilian helicopter pilot who flew mostly in Scotland, I initiated a project to look at the viability of a common frequency for military and civil pilots operating below 2,000 feet AGL or above ground level, and not in contact with LARS or lower airspace radar unit, or using a frequency monitoring code or listening squawk. The idea was trialed in Scotland with the CAA's approval, and following its success, it was extended to the whole of Britain. The extended trial was equally successful, and so the VHF low-level common frequency of 130.490 was born. Now, did I know anything about this? No. I had no clue about this at all. The reason I've chosen to highlight, to continue with the article, the reason I've chosen to highlight it this month, and this is the director of UCAB. This is their monthly update, so that's who's speaking. I'm quoting them. The reason I've chosen to highlight it this month is that anecdotally, there doesn't seem to have been much take-up of it by civilian pilots. And Airprox 2025078 is a prime example of where this frequency might well have come in handy. This Airprox took place over North Pennines, about 12 miles northeast of Penrith, between a Hawk and a PA-28. The Hawk pilot was conducting a low flying training and had turned from a northerly track to the easterly track about 25 seconds before the Airprox. Right. So basically, cutting the long story short, aircraft, Hawk flying, doing exercises, they announced where they are, but the PA-28 pilot didn't tune into that frequency. And because they didn't tune into that frequency, they then didn't hear the call. And these flights, so the pilot in the PA-28 was higher, about 3,000 feet. Let's have a look. The PA-28 had been flying at an altitude of about 3,000 feet over the Pennines when the terrain was about 2,000 feet AMSL, all right, above mean sea level. So around 1,100 feet above ground level. Although the pilot wasn't carrying any additional electronic conspicuity equipment, they spotted the Hawk as it turned on onto its easterly track. So the Piper banked and climbed. Where have I? I've lost it. Banked and climbed to increase separation. The closest point of approach was recorded as 0.2 miles at the same altitude. So they were at the same altitude at one point. But the horizontal distance might not seem that close, 0.2 miles. But the aircrafts were more or less head-on and at a closing speed of around 500 knots, which led the board to assign a risk category B, safety not assured, to the encounter. So what's this got to do with the low-level common frequency? Well, the Hawk pilot had been using it while operating in the UK low flying system. This exists from the surface to 2,000 feet AGL and has its own particular sets of rules for the military aircrew, one of which the crew must announce their position and intention periodically. The Hawk pilot's last call on that frequency was 1 minute 20 seconds prior to the airprox. Just to the west of the high ground over which the PA-28 pilot had been flying, the call was in an open area where it was deemed that their call would have been most likely to reach any other aircraft in the local area. And the Hawk pilot announced that they were flying towards Crossfell. Had the PA-28 also been using the low-level common frequency, then it's highly likely they would have heard the Hawk's transmissions and reacted to it. However, the Piper's pilot had been using the London information frequency and so had relied on the London FISO knowing the whereabouts of the Hawk. So basically, they're relying on the people on the other side of the radio in terms of the air traffic service unit to tell them, rather than them listening out to that frequency. Okay. So, I mean, the biggest point here, and then I'll read the last bit. The biggest point here is that there is a low-level common frequency that's in use when you're below 2,000 feet AGL. And in fact, the advice is even, if you're slightly above 2,000, it's useful to have it because you will hear if they're military aircraft operating so that you can avoid seeing the Grim Reaper before it's time. So that is very, very important for safety. And now I've got something to add to my planning. Details regarding the low-level common frequency and how to use it can be found in the UK AIP General 3.5. Obviously, if you're in a different country, you might have something like this. So it might be useful to kind of ask an instructor or do some research for your region. Okay. Let me see. Communication is a vital element of aviation. We should all consider a comms plan or a communications plan as part of the pre-flight preparation. Ideally, seek a surveillance-based service, usually air traffic service. So air traffic service in the UK is basically where they will watch you on a radar screen. And if they see a different, another plane coming your way, they will tell you, hey, you've got a plane, 12 o'clock, similar level, opposite way to you. And then they'll call the other aircraft, tell them, hey, you've got another plane, similar level, opposite direction to you, so that you both know what to do. And if you're coming head on, the rule is in the UK, if you're coming head on, both of you turn to the right to miss each other. Yeah. Or if you're following an aircraft, right, and it's going from right to left, right, it's going from right to left, then you have to move to the right and avoid them. That's usually the rule, but you will find that in your air law, and obviously also, as mentioned before, UK AIP, further information. So yeah, it's good to know that this exists. But there's some good news. This month, the board evaluated 36 airprocs, including 16 UAs, other events, all of which were reported by the piloted aircraft. Of the 20 full evaluations, 9 were classified as risk-bearing, 1 as Category 8, A, and 8 as Category B. The board did not make any safety recommendations this month. By comparison to last year, airprocs reporting over the summer months has reduced about 15%. You can see that this green is 2020 to 2024 aircrafts. Cumulative average, you can see the figures there, and UA other cumulative average as well, you can see, and it's down by 15%. Sent. So more good news. Is this the same? Is this the same thing that happened to that military helicopter and that plane? Which one are you talking about? Because if you're talking about the one I mentioned a little while ago, because we're talking about a plane, a PA-28, and a military in DC. Army Black Hawk helicopter in DC. Let me look that up. Do you have a link to anything like that? I might be lost, man. Not from this story, a completely different story. A completely different thing. Army helicopter. Interesting. No, I can't say I know anything about that. Let me just have a look at one thing before I get out of your hair. Yeah, let me know. Was that a story from, one second. Hawk, yeah. Where is that? Is that the same aircraft? Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, so this, let me come back to you. Let me see why. This was from USA 8 months ago. Okay, 1 second. Oh, damn it. I have to go to Kick to click on the link. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. Let's have a quick review. I mean, we've not watched a YouTube video in a while, so let's see this. Thank you for sharing this, man.
Impact. It's nighttime, January 29th, just before 9 p.m. local over Washington, D.C. Ignore this plane taking off. It's not directly involved. It's these two dots you want to keep your eye on. This is a Sikorsky H-60, a Black Hawk military helicopter. This is American Eagle Flight 5342. That's an American Airlines plane on approach for a landing at Reagan Washington National Airport. They're about to crash into each other. What that would have sounded like from a comms perspective, we can begin to understand, courtesy of a site called Live ATC. They monitor air traffic communication for more than 1,000 airports worldwide.
Pat 25, get 30 in flight. Pat 25, Pat 100 CRJ.
Pat 25, that's the helicopter. CRJ, that's the passenger plane with 64 people on board. What you're hearing there is air traffic control asking the helicopter pilot if they see the plane, because 21 seconds later, we now know they would collide in midair.
American 472, Washington Star, 1 star, 32017. Did you see that?
And what everybody nearby would have seen was this: two lights converging and a fireball, a devastating, deadly impact. Two lights. And what everybody nearby would have seen was this: two lights converging and a fireball, a devastating, deadly impact. What witnesses described as a stream of sparks.
We were just talking, next thing you know, I heard a loud explosion. I looked to the left, saw just a big ball of fire, and then wreckage just falling down towards the river. And my neighbor hollered out, "Oh my God, that's a plane."
But then silence. From that point on, if you saw a stream of lights, they were probably the flashing lights of first responders, because there was no fiery ground explosion. Both the plane and the helicopter crashed into the Potomac River. We can see that on flight radar trackers like this one from FlightAware. The particular route of this passenger plane happens just about every day, a 2.5-hour flight from Wichita, Kansas to Reagan National in DC. You can see from this flight, a few things happen. You start to gasp for air, hyperventilate, cold shock, affects your thinking, your decision making. Your heart rate shoots up, and within minutes, you lose muscle control. Then, hypothermia sets in. The night of the crash, this was a search and rescue mission. The following morning, it was a recovery operation.
At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident. And we have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter.
According to the Pentagon, there were 3 soldiers in the Black Hawk helicopter. On the plane, according to American Airlines, 64 people, 60 of them passengers, 2 flight attendants, and 2 pilots.
We will continue to work to find all the bodies and collect them and reunite them.
On the plane in this crash were from the U.S. figure skating community.
But there's an important question investigators will try to answer over the coming months, maybe even years. How could something like this have happened?
And at this time, we don't know why the military aircraft came into the path of the PSA aircraft.
We can hear from air traffic control recordings. Flight 5342, the passenger plane, was cleared to land, but so too was the helicopter cleared to fly.
The helicopter was in a standard pattern. If you live in the DC area, you'll see helicopters up and down the river.
This is true. Reagan National is one of the more complex airports to navigate in the U.S. because of its proximity to military infrastructure, the U.S. Capitol, the White House, a heavy urban center. There are restrictions on where you can fly, what kind of approaches you can make. There are commercial flights, military flights. It's busy.
This is a geographically constrained airport. It's relatively small that moves a lot of airplanes and
aircraft landing at DCA.
But of course, mid-air crashes are exceedingly rare. We can glean from air traffic control transcripts that the Army helicopter pilot both had been warned of the incoming plane and believed it could have been avoided. The pilot said, Pat 25 has aircraft in sight. Request visual separation. Requesting visual separation means the pilot is asking for and taking responsibility for maintaining a safe distance from other aircraft using their own eyes. That's the visual separation, as opposed to relying on air traffic control instructions or radar. But about 13 seconds later, the crash.
Everything was standard, they say, in the lead up to the crash, but something went wrong. Clearly something went horribly wrong.
So what we don't know, why couldn't a helicopter pilot, who the US Army says was flying a training mission, why couldn't the pilot avoid the crash? Did the pilot have eyes on the right plane? And on the flip side, was the passenger plane pilot even aware the helicopter was on a collision course? Listen to what the US Secretary of Transportation had to say about this.
I don't want to say too much on the communication between the helicopter in the tower and the airline in the tower, but I will say this, there was communication. It was I would say standard communication. So there was not a breakdown, if that's your question, in communication between the military helicopter and the American airline flight. There was communication between the aircraft and the tower.
Which sounds like there was no communication issue. But then there is a follow-up from the reporter. Was the plane pilot aware of the helicopter? This was the answer, which avoids the question.
I would say the helicopter was aware that there was a plane in the area.
Now, normally, commercial jets have electronic transponders that alert everybody when different aircraft are getting dangerously close. But it's not clear whether they would have activated at this altitude, and at least one expert told CBC this safeguard may not even have been in place.
It's not.
It is in the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane. This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. And at a news conference later that same day,
The people in the helicopter should have seen where they were going.
has yet to explain.
Yeah, so very tragic situation. I was actually not aware of that, so thank you for sharing that. I would say, yeah, very similar, right? Because you've got civil aviation, military aviation operating low altitude, and the conflict that can create. I think the difference with that and the VHF low-level common frequency is they were speaking to control tower. They were speaking to air traffic control, which then air traffic control becomes, in that scenario, because they're being directed, takes on responsibility for separation, for keeping them safe. Whereas the VHF low-level common frequency is for use in areas where there is no air traffic control, there is no what we call lower airspace radar service, or LARS, meaning that there's nobody with a radar screen who can see and tell you, because really that's the safer option. But if you don't have somebody to do that, then a good idea would be to tune into the VHF low-level common frequency, so that if there's a military aircraft operating, they're going to announce what they're doing and where they are. And then if you hear them announce what they're doing and where they are, and it's kind of close to you, just start talking to them. Hey, this is who I am. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm going. And you can kind of talk to each other. Okay, I'm going to climb up to 5,000 feet. Can you descend down to 3,000 feet? Or, you kind of have a chat and decide what you're going to do. So it's slightly different because in that case, they're both talking to air traffic control. Whereas with VHF, low level common frequency, you're talking to each other. Yeah. So I'd say that's the differences. But overall, principally, it's quite a similar thing. It's I guess a common threat, if you like, that there could be military aircraft operating low level. So it's something to use, particularly from up to 2,000 feet above ground level. All right, well, that's me wrapped up. I think I've earned my rest for today. So it's time for me to get on up out of here. I hope you guys got something out of today. Make sure you leave something in the chat, leave something in the comments. And of course, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Get subscribed, get subscribed, get subscribed. I mean, you don't even have to watch my videos. Just subscribe anyway. Right. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great, blessed week, productive. And above all, I hope that you move closer and closer to achieving your life's dream, your childhood dream, your big dream. Of course, big shout out to AAIB, who is now also a mod out on Kick. Thank you very much for your participation. I appreciate you sharing. And if you're not sharing, why are you not sharing? Look at what AAIB's doing. You can be part of the conversation. We can't wait. But AAIB, MVP. Thank you very much. All right, people. As always, drop your questions in the comments, especially to do with money, because then that will inform what I talk about next week. I hope you find it useful. Let me know. Your feedback is important. All right, guys. That's it from me. Remember, next week, if you live in a country where your clocks do not change, you're going to be catching the show an hour later than normal. If you live in a country where the clocks don't change, you're going to be catching the show an hour later, right? Because our clocks in the UK are going to be jumping forward this Sunday. So next week, if your clocks are not changing, I will be on an hour later. It will be 7 p.m. UTC, not British Summer Time. It will be Universal Coordinated Time, or formerly known as GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So see you guys then. Hopefully all the technology works, because today was actually this close to not happening because all Canva and Restream was not working, but we got through in the end. But see you guys next week, Monday, 7 p.m. GMT or UTC, or as pilots say, Zulu time. Until next time, this is Future Pilot 901. And my name is Dee, reminding you to live your dream. Peace.
Man, from living in my car to finally getting my trial flight done.
Hold it.
To being in this moment. Hey, come on. Well done. Was it worth the sacrifice? Oh, man.
Golf X-ray. Pull back. May pull back more. Hold it there. Pull back.
Switching to Southern radar 130.
Bit more.
Listen. Was it worth the sacrifice?
So, power right on. Center line.
Listen, if you have a dream, it's down to you to make it happen, man. You might give it everything and it might still not work, but guess what? The journey makes you a better, stronger person. Can you imagine what kind of person you would become if you didn't pursue the one thing that you thought was the best thing in the world? You didn't pursue it. What kind of person does that make you after 20, 30 years of doing that? But when you chase what you believe is the most valuable, the most beautiful, the most awesome thing that you can do, and you give it everything, win or lose, you become a better person.